Welcome back to Repair Shop Reckoning with Kevin and Jason. We're kind of excited, as you see on the screen behind me here. We are now offering consulting. We got a couple gigs already. We're going to be going down to their shop and checking out. We're reporting. The one thing that I did in our contract is like, hey, I want to record this. I want to show people what we offer, what I do. I've been doing this a long time, so I do definitely know how to make money and getting people's businesses back on track. Like I said 100 times over, and I'm going to say it 101 times, you could be a great mechanic. Doesn't mean you know how to run a business. Okay. And I'm going to say this again, because I'm going to beat this into people's head. How can you sell something to somebody that you don't know how much it cost you? That does not make you stupid. It just makes you uneducated at what you do. We all, want to be business owners, or most of us, right? So we're like, well, if I open a shop, how hard can it be? Well, you basically open two businesses, because you have the business part of the shop, and you have the fixing the cars part of the shop. So it's two different animals, right? There's a lot of variables that go into running a shop that over the years I've had to figure out the hard way, beating myself against my head against the wall. Why am I losing money? What's going on? How do I charge for this? The one thing is I see over and over again. There's two things I see over and over again, responses to my video. Number one, you're a scam shop if you mark up your parts.
Yeah.
You know what that sounds like? A poor guy.
Yep. Absolutely.
He doesn't know what he's doing. And the other thing I hear a lot of is, what was it? I lost my train of thought now because I'm sitting there, touch the table and
It reverbs.
it reverbs. The parts markup, right?
Yeah.
And then not knowing how to mark up stuff. Diagnosis. A couple of people said to me, response back, you actually charge people for your diagnosis? You have balls. So apparently, a lot of shops will spend 2 hours or an hour or whatever diagnosing a problem, and then roll that diagnosis into the repair. So there's two different ways of doing it, and I think that's the shady way. I'm upfront, okay? If you bring your car in and you say, check my wiper, my wiper motor's not working, my taillights aren't working, and it pulls to the right. Okay, that's three different problems. Okay, that's an hour per problem. How I do it is, at my shops, if I could fix that problem in 1 hour, I will fix it in 1 hour. That's what it'll cost you. If I spend my hour and say I check out the wiper system that's in op, go through the wiring diagram, blah, 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 check it all out, come to the conclusion after checking all the powers and grounds, it's got a bad motor. Okay, the customer's going to owe me for 1 hour. Then I'm going to look up the book time, and I'm going to charge them the book time. People are like, why don't you just roll that into the repair? Okay, if the book time is 2 hours and I spend an hour, that's 3 hours, right? I could lie to the customer and say, oh, I'm not going to charge you the hour up front. I'm just going to charge you 3 hours. It's the same difference, but it's a little bit shady doing it, especially if they look and they say, hey, the book time is only 2 hours. You charge me 3. Well, I had to get paid for my diagnosis. Well, no. So what does that do? If you don't get paid for your diagnosis, who gets screwed? The flat rate technician. Yeah. So we're right up front. Hey, it's going to be an hour to check this out per problem. If we could fix it in an hour, we'll do it. And I don't really have a lot of pushback from customers. I have people that call and they're like, what's your labor rate per hour? That's a red flag to me right now.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, if you're already price shopping before you even went there, I'm not your shop.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the most expensive guy around. I
Yeah.
tell them, I said, my labor rate's $217.48 right now, or $217.33 right now. And, next week it could go up just depending on my cost. The other thing, as I talked about, Jason, was people don't even know how much to charge their labor rate. They'll call Bob, Fred, Mike, and Tom, all the local shops, and go, what is your labor rate? So you got one guy that's setting the labor rate for everything. Your labor rate is dictated by what you pay your people, your overhead, your cost. Okay, that's what dictates your labor rate in your markups, not what the guy down the street's doing. Because think about this. If he's losing money, guess what you're doing now?
You're losing money too. And you're the blind leading the blind when you look at that.
Yeah. So you think Walmart calls up Myers and Myers calls Kroger and go, hey, how much are you charging for milk or eggs? No. And you've done consulting. I mean, give me a story about some of the stupid shit people do because they don't know their cost.
Well, so like when I the last job I had before I started my business, when I got there, they got a residual for services that they activated from historical years past, and so when you sold something, you'd get this residual, and they were looking at the residual as more important to them, that they were paying for customers to come in. They would literally, and there was a video you talked about taking, $80 out of your bank account and giving it to a customer. They were literally taking money out of their bank account every single time they got a customer, because it was outside of advertising. They were literally giving away equipment that was taking them below the line in order to just make residual. And when I got there, they were millions of dollars in debt, and faced with either bankruptcy or try to restructure. And we had to restructure a bunch of stuff because they were in that broke mindset.
Isn't that crazy? And that's kind of the thing, and the other, you know, we can just go on and on about people not knowing their costs. And the bottom line is it starts at the top. If you don't know your costs, everybody below you gets screwed. Let me give you an example. These guys are over and over saying on the post when I talk about flat rate's the devil. Flat rate is a loser for the shop and the tech. Flat rate's this. Flat rate's great. If you're a good tech and you know how to organize your time and work, you can make a lot of money. Now, you could make a lot of money on flat rate in the right shop environment. And this is going to lead me into my next thing, the right service advisor. These service advisors are not trained. They don't know how to sell something. And there is an art to selling something. You could pick your style of selling something. My style has always been, I don't give a shit if you buy it or not. This is what you need. My job is to tell you as a customer, you need X, Y, and Z. It's up to you if you want to spend your money on it. Okay. And it's always worked very well for me. And you hear these, all kinds of different, you read all kinds of different sales books. They talk about ask for the sale. A customer can't tell you no if you don't ask them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And these guys are so worried about it, a customer being offended. If you bring your car in and it needs something and you can prove it, and we have an open door policy at my shops. If I call you up and say, hey, your truck needs ball joints, and you say I'm a liar, I say, come on down. And then I show the customer, right, here it is. Or I send them a video now that we have DVI. But my policy was years ago before cameras and stuff like that, come on down. We'll show you. Okay. And a lot of these service advisors are not trained. So this flat rate tech gets screwed. Or they always do, can you do me a favor? Can you just hook me up on this job and not get paid, or fix this under warranty and not get paid? I'll catch you on the next one. Let me tell you something. These service advisors are dipshits, okay? These mechanics have a lot of money invested in tools, time, everything else. Why the hell should they do anybody a favor? They go to work to make money. They're like, literally think about this. If we depicted this, we could say they're gunslingers in the Wild West. They're hired guns.
Yep.
We hire them to go out and fix cars. Okay, so give them the support to actually, when they give you a diagnosis and a write-up on a car, to have a qualified service advisor go out and quote the job so everybody's profitable, educate the customer that the job might grow, okay, and sell the job. Then get the parts to the guy and get the guy making money. But think about this. You're saying these flat rate techs are leaving the industry. There's several different facets why these guys are leaving. Okay, cars are harder to fix, no doubt about it. But if you're billing it right and selling it right, you can make money.
You make a ton of money.
These guys are making a lot of these good techs are well over six figures now.
How do you go about finding a good service advisor? And then I guess even more than that, I know from consulting in my years of work with people that you've got to put that time and training into them. It's not just you hire somebody. For the most part, it's very rare that you hire somebody that just comes in and is just a gunner. How do you bring in somebody and train them?
I spent a year with my service advisor right now I have at Garrett's. I spent a year with him sitting next to him selling stuff. I make him repetition is key.
Absolutely.
I make him answer the phone the same way. I make him greet the customer the same way. I make him answer stuff the same way. Once you you have a process locked down, you're less likely to make a mistake. Okay? There's definitely different problems that crop up in our business because we do such a vast variety of different repairs. We're not your normal car repair shop, and we work on lift gates. We work on everything. Between my two shops, there's not really nothing we don't do. So there is a lot of training that goes into what we do. And I'm still hands-on. My guys still call me and ask me questions because I have 35 years of knowledge of doing what I do. When I sell the place someday to Jason and I retire, I don't know if he'll do the same stuff I do. I didn't do the same stuff Steve did just because I wasn't as comfortable with it. So not to mention, it didn't make money. So my thing is, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, I don't do it. That's just it doesn't make money. It doesn't make sense. I just don't do it. Um, and your shops, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's one of the things that's really cool though is because Jason probably doesn't have to change a whole lot. You know, like there's probably things that change in business, and you know there's new ideas and stuff like that. But from like the foundation of things, there's probably not a ton of changes that he has to make. Where you did see changes that you had to make, and I think that even ties into the consulting of what you can do when you come into a company and just seeing like the little things that you can pick up and find money that they're leaving on the table.
Oh, absolutely. And I own a collision shop. I own a trailer parts repair. I own a trailer parts store and trailer repair store. I have a truck shop. So I do medium and heavy duties. We do cars. So I've been in this business. I've done it all. Some guys are like, "How are you qualified?" I'm qualified. I've done it all and I own it all. Okay. And I make money doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. So these guys with one shop, we could tidy them up to get them making good money. I mean, you figure these guys that are doing $1 million a year, they should be putting 200,000 in their pocket. And I've talked to some of these guys, and I looked at his shop not far from us, and he was doing, I think he said 1,000,001, and I said, okay, what do you make? Well, I pull 80 grand a year out of this.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying 80 grand is not a lot of money. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking 80 grand, but I said, but I noticed your wife works here too. Well, we don't pay her. So your wife works here full time and she doesn't get paid. So if I took that 80 grand and put it between the two of you, that's 40 each. You're not running your shop correctly. Well, I'm in a bad neighborhood. That has nothing to do with it. Okay, you can make all the excuses you want. You're not charging customers the way they should be charged. So you're taking money out of your bank account every day
Yeah.
and giving it to customers. So
Location can matter, but throughout my career, I've been in poor locations. I had a shop, a retail location out on the south side of Lansing that was across the street from low income housing. People would literally walk across with their welfare check to my store and spend it. And we were the highest price location in all of the area. And we were also the busiest location in not only Lansing, but in Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky within our region.
isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
I
Price doesn't matter. There is a degree where location can matter, but I'm telling you what, people are people.
I agree. And most guys don't think about it this way. I figured this out a long time ago. I had a fleet that they were balancers of ATM machines, and they went through breaks like no tomorrow on these little escorts. So he said, well, back then I think it was like the brake doctor or something by us. They'll do brakes for $99. They'll put pads and rotors on, whatever, pads for $99. So what I realized is I don't remember exactly what brand, but we'll just say I was selling Wagner pads to him. And my Wagner pads cost me $50. I mark them up $20, so they're $70, right? I was only making $20 on them parts, right? Then I realized, well, shit, I can get the perfect stops or whatever back then for $10 and sell them for $40. I was making more money with a cheaper part. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I sell cheap parts all the time, but you can make more profit with cheaper parts if somebody is price driven. You just have to change the warranty and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore because we're a quality shop. And if you don't want to go down the street, if you want Kmart stuff, go down the street. And most people don't even know what Kmart is.
Yeah, exactly.
Show my age, but so I agree with that neighborhood kind of does matter, but not a ton.
It's not end all be all. You're not going out of business because of the neighborhood.
Right, exactly. So,
But and then there's the guy that you were just showing me on TikTok the other day that was like bragging about how he's the lowest, charges the lowest in town, and like that's not a badge of honor.
no, that just goes to show you that you really don't know how to run a business. And I've watched this guy now because I'm kind of interested. Yeah, so he's bragging about being the cheapest in town. So what exactly do you get when you're the cheapest in town? You get to struggle.
Yeah.
And I look at his guys, they're not wearing shirts and stuff. And I look at the cars that are in his shop, that's all older cars. So, hey, pick your audience. You want to be the cheap guy, get the cheap customers. That's cool. I mean,
Well, and that's thinking about that too. When you were talking about earlier about the people that call up price shopping, those are not the customers that you want. You don't want people that are calling up and looking for the lowest price, because those are the people that I've noticed that are always the ones that complain, like they bitch about everything. They're the worst customers ever, and then you have to worry about them. Are they even going to pay you?
No, I totally agree with that. And we don't we are the most expensive shop around. Um, you know, we I had a customer a couple weeks ago pull his truck out and took it over to the dealer because he said our kingpin job was more expensive than the dealer. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. It is what it is. And then he's like, well, how can you be more expensive than the dealer? Well, the dealer buys the parts cheaper. I have to buy the parts marked up from the dealer, then I have to mark them up. So yeah, I'm going to be more expensive than the dealer. I don't know what to tell you. Does that make the dealer better than me? Like everybody's got this whole
Yeah.
notion that
Yep.
the dealer have a bunch of dipshits working for him just like we all do.
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
same people.
you're the same
Yeah.
guys that cycle, you know, and these guys get butthurt when we talk about dealer techs. I don't have nothing against dealer techs, but there's shitheads in every business. I don't care where you're at or what you do. They just put a engine in Maryland's Yukon under warranty, the 6.2, blew up, and we get it back. We go to pick it up, and Lincoln calls me. Him and Jason went over there to pick it up. Lincoln calls me, goes, Dad, did you have the trailer hitch cover off? I go, no, Mom doesn't pull nothing. It's missing the trailer hitch cover. So he walks in and goes, hey, the trailer hitch cover is missing on my mom's truck. It wasn't there. It wasn't there when we got it. He didn't even say, let me go look. The service advisor's like right away, like, we didn't do that. No, we didn't. So Lincoln's like, yeah, I just talked to my dad. My mom's never pulled anything with it. So guess what? He goes out back, finds it. Okay, then we bring it back over to the shop, put it on the hoist and make sure everything's good. The wiring harness is about hanging by the alternator belt. The little bracket's missing. And the fan shroud, where they put the new radiator in it, is all cocked. So we fix all that shit. Okay?
Wow. Wow.
But I didn't call him up and yell and holler at him. I'm just like, whatever. But let's go back to the service advisor. Okay. Your service advisor is the gatekeeper of your business. They can make you or break you. Listen to what I'm saying. Your service advisor can put you out of business. And a lot of these guys put their trust in these guys, these service advisors that don't know what the hell they're doing. And you're letting the guy, he's basically like the surgeon with his finger on the heart when they're doing open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the guy that's marking and that's controlling your sales. So you better have the right service advisor in that chair, because if not, he's going to put you out of business. He's going to piss your customers off. He's going to overcharge them, undercharge them, whatever. It can cause you lots of grief and put you out of business. You know, people don't get that. Oh, a service advisor is not a big deal. Oh, bullshit. That is the guy that'll break you. Not to mention, if he doesn't know what he's doing, look what he's doing to your mechanics wages, your flat rate guys. Think about it, if your tech comes in and goes, hey, I think it needs a trans flush because the fluid's dirty, it needs this and that, and he doesn't want to call the customer up and say, hey, you need a trans flush, and he just doesn't say it, and he tells the tech, yeah, they wouldn't buy it. Okay, and I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Not, I was from the sales standpoint, people just, oh yeah, they didn't say anything.
Yeah, and it's like you have to, like, at my shop, we look at every inch of the vehicle. We write it for everything. Obviously, we say, okay, you brought it in for rear end noise. Here's the rear end noise. This is why. But while we're under there, you have an oil leak. You have a rusty brake line. Your tie rod's ready to fall up. Right? And at that point, the customer can make the decision if they want to fix it or not. That's the bottom line. And a lot of times, the type of work we do, they fix it. Where the fleets don't want to have to come back every other
Absolutely.
week. They make money with their job, with their trucks.
I said the more time they're down, the more money they're losing. So they get it in, get everything done.
Right. So what I'm thinking of doing, we're going to do people can reach out to me. They can PM me or whatever. We could even do an online thing of service advisor training.
Ooh.
Because
Yeah.
I think that's a hot topic. Because if you get a good service advisor and he starts looking at selling stuff, he's going to increase everything across the board, your tax wages and everything. Okay. I have a 17-year-old son that's a service advisor learning right now. He's probably a better sales than most of these jerk offs sitting in the seats right now.
I can guarantee you he is. I mean, he was on my podcast and talking about how he learned how picking up the phone is really the way that you create sales and create opportunities versus like sending out an email or a text message. So I know that he's killing it.
Yeah, he's not afraid to call and sell somebody something, and he's kind of got the same mindset of everybody else that works for him. This all takes money. You guys all want to make a good living. We're not ripping anybody off, but we're charging a healthy buck. Okay. Once again, I go back down to the shop. I pull into the shop this morning, and all the guys' Harleys are lined up. Okay. They all rode to work together today. Jake lives in Commerce now. Jason. They all ride their Harleys. that makes me feel good that my guys aren't broke. They can pay their bills. They could have cool shit. They got boats. They have all this stuff. It's why? Because me at the top, I know how to price my stuff. If you're a shop owner and your guys are crying they don't make enough money and you're making excuses, you're a shitty shop owner. The problem is most guys think they're great shop owners and they suck. They can't pay their bills. They can't pay their wages. Okay. And several comments on my post from the other day. Did you see them guys going, I run to the bank with my paycheck? Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's sad.
Hell yeah, it's sad. Like, I was shocked that these guys would say that because it never even crossed my mind, to be truthful. I don't think I've ever not paid my guys. Now, a few weeks ago, something happened where my wife missed Nick. He didn't get paid. He called me up and said, yo, I didn't get paid. I said, okay. I pulled it up. I drove over to his house with cash. I said, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. What we forgot to pay, whatever, in the paychecks. Sometimes it'll omit somebody. So I drove over to his house. Like, I firmly believe, and you could ask my wife next time she's on the podcast, I'm an absolute nut about making sure people get paid. Okay. I do not mess with people's paychecks.
Yep.
Okay. If there's an error, like one time Jim Gray, I paid him $500 too much. He was like, yo, you paid me $500 too much. I go, don't worry, I'll get it out of you. I'm not going to take it back. And I just gave him $500. It's like, I'm not going to mess with people's wages. Because I remember my first job when I was broke, and I remember I did 2 engines and I did do a third one. And I said, if I stay this weekend and do the third one, will you pay me for it? Because I don't remember why I needed the money, but I was a 29-year-old that drank a lot and partied with my friends. I needed the money.
Yep.
And I got it all done. And Tuesday came and it was the end of the pay period. And I said, hey, my sheet, you didn't pay me for that third engine. She's like, you made enough money last week. That pissed me fucking off right there. And I tell you what, I never stayed late to do anything.
Man. Yeah.
And, so I've made deals with people that I don't necessarily think were very smart now that I look back on it, but I lived up to them. And I think that's what people need to do. But these guys are such shitty business owners. They're always looking to screw their techs. Who gets it the worst? The tech. Why would you mess with a guy who's actually doing the work? Without the technician doing the work, you're not a repair shop because you have nobody to do the repairs. But these guys will fuck around with somebody's paycheck or cheat them out of warranty time or whatever. It's horrible.
I love like talking about the components from the service advisor to the tech and how important both of those roles are, because I think a lot of times an owner can think, well, I'm the boss, I'm the guy, but you've got to look at your business as these crucial parts and empower them. And it's a part of a mindset too to know that you're empowered, because I've had salespeople on my team that are like, oh, I'm just a salesperson. Like, fuck that. No, like, you're the person that drives the revenue. Like, if you're just walking around like you're just a salesperson, you're probably a shitty salesperson, because that's the way you're thinking. I'm thinking I'm a lion. I'm an asset to your team. Like, for you to have me on your team is an asset. And if you're walking around like I'm just a salesperson, I'm just a service advisor, you're not making a difference in that shop.
I would agree with that. My service advisors, they're allowed to, if a customer starts screaming, yelling, they don't have to listen to their shit. We're not going to send you a gift card because you're going to threaten us with a bad review.
Yeah.
Okay? You're going to get kicked out of our shop. Now, and I've said this before because I always worry about repeating myself, but sometimes I think I need to because people don't listen. I don't put up with customer shit anymore. I'm successful enough. If you're going to sit there and be an asshole, you need to go down the road and make somebody else miserable. We don't need the aggravation. And, we have several of them that over the years I've thrown right out. I had a really big customer here at Motor City, and he was doing a couple $100,000 a year, and he just got too big for his britches. And one day I walked in and said, you're all done here. Get your shit and get out of here. You don't understand what you're doing. Oh, I understand exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking control back of my business because you're an asshole. And I threw him out of here. My guys were looking at me like I had 3 heads. I said, we'll be fine. But, I got into business for myself because I didn't want to have to put up with shit.
Yep.